Hey guys, through this video I am going to talk about EBIT-EPS analysis. Whenever you come across capital structure decision, it is one of the common topics of discussion. So let's get started. So why we do it? The primary objective of the company is to maximize the wealth of shareholders. Every decision in the company is undertaken keeping in mind this objective. And often company requires different sources of finance to fund its activity, and company needs to decide what type of a source of finance it should select. So the main reason behind understanding the EBIT-EPS analysis is to know what can be the optimal capital mix for the company. So there are different sources of finance to raise the capital, and the focus is primarily laid on these three common sources of finance, which are equity share, preference shares and benches. I know you would know about it, but a quick recap: equity shares are the shares which are being invested by equity shareholder who are having a voting right in the company. Preference shares are the shares invested by the preference shareholders who have the preference over the equity when the dividend payments are paid by the company. And debentures are the funds invested by the debenture holders. So decision or the criteria to decide what should be the source of finance for the capital is dependent on the cost associated with it. As you know that whenever you are going to pay preference shareholders, they have a preference over the equity shareholders in the dividend payments. So whenever the share capital is being generated from equity shareholders, the cost that is being paid by the company is the equity dividend. For preference shareholders, the cost is the preference dividend paid, and for the debenture holders, the cost of finance is interest. Now, the company needs to pay debenture holders interest payment, and since these interest payments are tax deductible, it provides an advantage to the company. However, that does not mean that the company should borrow more and more funds. It needs to decide that what type of and to what extent the capital should include the equity share, preference shares or the debentures. Now let's look at a practical example to understand the application of EBIT-EPS analysis. Now in this particular case, there are different share capital mix for the company. Case 1 includes only the investment in the form of share capital. Case 2 and 3 involves a mix of both share capital and the loan. Now, the interest on loan in case 2 and case 3 is 15% and 40%. And this change has also bring change in the earning per share. And you can see that the earning per share is 26.25% in case 2 and 7.5% in case 3. Now this brings up an important concept, that is trading on equity or the financial leverage. It is a situation where the return on equity share capital increases in the presence of fixed financial cost, that is the interest expense. Now this scenario would arise only when the cost of loan is less than the return on capital invested. Now you see that in case 2, the cost of loan 15% is far less than the earning per share, and that is why it is optimal for company to select case 2 for the capital mix. Other concept is the indifference point. It is also called the break-even EBIT, the level of EBIT where the earning per share of unlevered firm and levered firm are equal. It is a point of EBIT where the decision of debt and equity proportion do not disturb the earning per share available to equity shareholders. So leverage firm is where the cost of funds involve the amount of loan, and unlevered firm does not involve the loan amount. So irrespective of the level of EPS, the earning per share will remain the same. So this example illustrates the same. In case 1, the capital only involves the investment in the form of share capital. And in case 2, 3 and 4, it's a mix of both share capital and loan. As you can see that in case 1, the earning per share is 15% and in case 3, the earning per share is 15%. So this is an indifference point where at the level of EBIT, irrespective whatever the capital mix is, the earning per share remains the same. Next, so what is an optimal capital mix? So optimal capital mix is one which generates a maximum wealth to shareholders and reduces the cost of capital. Whenever you are taking capital structure decisions, it is essential to understand the risk and return relationship. Oftentimes, the capital mix will consist of owner's fund and borrowed funds, and both of them differ in cost as well as the riskiness. As the cost of debt is tax deductible, increased use of debt lowers the tax liability for the company and increases the return on equity. However, when you use debt beyond a certain limit, there is a financial risk involved which will increase as the interest and the loan payments, principal payments, is the obligation for the business. So, company needs to understand to what extent they should use debt in the capital structure. Again, another example. Referring to the previous example, we can see that in case 2 also the loan amount is same, case 3 the loan amount is same, but the interest cost has differed. The interest is 15% in case 2 and 40% in case 3, and which has also changed the earning per share in both the cases. So for company, the optimal capital mix would be selecting case 2 because it's generating maximum wealth to the shareholders. And as you can see, as discussed earlier, the greater proportion of debt does not mean that the earning per share will also be increased, because company needs to look what is the cost of finance they are going to pay. As the interest amount increases, the cost of finance will also increase. So company needs to make a proper and informed decision. So thank you guys for listening to my video. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and comment down below your views. And if you need any help regarding any of the topics, you can certainly comment and tell me and I'll help you with that.